Hello and welcome everybody. We're going to go ahead and look at a quick way to make a Kahoot. Just thought that I'd share this information with you. Brad was trying to set up a meeting to do this, and we just couldn't really find a good time, so I thought that I'd kind of just take care of it through this video, and hopefully it will help. So you'll want to go to the sign up. You'll want to log in as a teacher and then sign up with Google, and you can go ahead and use your North Bend High School Google account. It's going to ask you to pay. You obviously don't have to. It's going to ask you about some other things as well, just some things that you kind of would like to do, and it shows some of the differences between the packages. But I would recommend the just the free model. And once you log in, I'm not going to continue because I already have an account. Once you get through the login process, that'll take a little bit. You're more than welcome to, in that process, add my NBHS mathematics. It's kind of like a Kahoot classroom where you can share some within the math department. So feel free to do that. I think that's fine. But what we want to talk about doing today is creating a new Kahoot. So this is sort of your dashboard as a teacher, kind of where everything is. And we want to create new. There are some templates, but most of the time we just want to pick the blank Kahoot. I'll usually start with the title, and we're just going to say that this is a test Kahoot. If you want to put a description, you can. If you want to tag it as part of the mathematics, you can. I don't know if you're allowed to do it with the free version or not, so I wouldn't worry about it too much. You can change the cover image, what they're showing as students are getting loaded up into your Kahoot, and yeah, that one looks daunting enough. We'll go with that. Again, there's no real rhyme or reason towards what this is. It just, as kids are loading up, they can see something. So when it comes to actually writing your questions, and let me look at this full screen for a second, all your questions are going to show up on the left side. So all the questions will be there. There is a question bank where you can, I don't know, maybe type in something about geometry, and it'll come up with, you can add some easier questions or some questions that you didn't really make really quick. Personally, I'd rather do my own and have a little more control. So, like I said, I'm going to add some of these problems. When you're doing that, I'm using the snipping tool to just take a snip of this image, and it got a little weird there, but I'm just going to save it into just a file that I have. So I have test Kahoot pics, and I'm just calling it number 1 because that's all it is. Then from that, where'd it go? Right here. From that file explorer, you can either just drag it in, or you can click this on Kahoot to go find your picture. But I'm just going to drag it in. Okay, this is the image that I want. My question is classify the angle. You can say as well, I wouldn't even say that because they're going to see all the options below. So I want to classify this angle. My options for answers are straight, right, obtuse, or acute. So with this is just the possible answers. We know this is an obtuse angle, so I'm going to click the check mark that says that that's the correct answer. Now, from this, so instead of, since I'm on half screen here, instead of showing all my questions along the left, it's showing them along the bottom. Some other things that I can do is I can create a time limit. If I want, let's say I want students to answer that in 5 seconds. I have 5 seconds to answer that question. I can assign points, either no points for a problem, the normal amount of points, or I can double one. Kind of a bonus question maybe at the end, you can double it. Probably more often than not I use the duplicate. So duplicating it is just bringing in bringing in the same options, the same picture, and the same correct answer. I don't know what the next correct answer is going to be, so I'm going to go ahead and leave that off the table. Give me a second while I get the other pictures in here just to save a little time. So all I've done now is I've just gotten all the pictures into my file folder. So I have those 5 pictures of angles. Just to check, I can just take each one of those and just drag it right over the one that I already had on that duplicate problem, and it will automatically bring it in and overwrite it. So this one's an acute angle. I want to make sure to pick the correct answer, otherwise Kahoot's, it's going to help you out in that it's not really going to let you continue, or it's just going to give you a warning that, hey, there's no correct answer here. You also have the option, and we didn't really see this in the half screen mode, but in full screen you can choose to have it reveal slowly. So as time ticks away, it's going to sort of piece out. And that's what all these are. They're piecing out the image itself, so that you can see it progressively, see more and more of it. So not really probably something that we want to deal with so much, but some other classes might. I have the option to duplicate the question over on the sidebar here. I can either duplicate it or delete it with any of those. So I'm just going to keep pulling those pictures in and then reselecting the correct answer. This one's an obtuse angle. I need to duplicate. You'll notice that all these problems say, oh, did I do that right? Yeah. Which one was that? That was 4 though. So I have 1, I have 2. 2's actually down here, that'll be okay. You'll notice that all these say quiz, and that's an okay thing. It's just the style of question that you're looking at. This one's a right angle, let's just check. That one's obtuse. That one's acute. Okay, and all 4 of mine are different right now. Let's get our last problem in here, and I'm going to put it right here. So there are other options for question types. This is not a very good straight angle, but it is classified as straight. There are other options for questions, other types of questions. The main one that we're using is quiz, and that just means that there's 4 options. Okay. The other option is true false, and yeah, that's open to us. I think you'll notice that the rest of these are, I think slide might be open for us with a free account, but this little thing right here just means that you have to have a pro account to use it. So we can't actually have any open-ended questions. And I wanted a poll on one of mine, so I paid for an upgraded account, and so I have access to poll, and I think I have access to puzzle, and you might not. So just know that you're probably going to be making quizzes or true-false statements if you go with the basic free account. So my Kahoot's done. It really didn't take that long. The main thing was pulling in the pictures. If I wanted to add an algebra problem, I could either type it in, and I could say 5x plus 7 equals let's say 22. And I can have no image here, or I can just put in some kind of a maybe different looking background, whatever I want to put in here. And then in all these, you just want to put what your possible answers are. Let's say x equals 3, x equals 10, x equals well, let's put a good one in there, 15, and x equals -5. So one thing that you'll notice is that in putting the answers this way, it's not going to be math formatted. I think fractions will be somewhat of an issue. If there are problems like that, I would say it's probably better to write them in something that'll do fractions, and then upload the picture and just say maybe solve the problem. Okay. So that being said, we would want to make sure that we choose the correct answer, and that's kind of the best we can do. So after I'm done, I can always preview it and see what it would look like to students. Notice all these. It's probably a good idea of something to make sure that you remember. Since I set my timer to 5 seconds on these ones, and then I duplicated that question over and over again, my timer was still set to 5 seconds for all of these. So obviously this is just the preview. You're not really doing much. You're just saying that it works, and they're just showing a random number of answers. None of that's actually happening. They're just showing you what it's going to look like. So it is an option. This is the default picture when there is no picture on a problem. Just a little branding, I guess, for Kahoot. But it's still a good way that you can get some problems out there and get kind of quick quizzes that kids can do. You can go full screen or not full screen. Let's see. Exit preview. Once you're done, kind of how to deal with it, it's going to say, hey, you should test this, or you can share it with people. You don't really have to do that, but what you want to do when you get into class is you're going to click play the Kahoot. It takes a little second to load. We want to use the classic version. I guess you can go with the team version if you want to, but you can go ahead and look in on that. They'll also let you kind of pick some other things, like you can customize the sort of beboppy music that plays in the background while people are loading it or are answering questions. You can change the order of the questions or the order of the answers. So all these are options that you can enable. But saying that we want to play the classic game, you'll have your students. I'm gonna just mute that. You'll have your students load up Kahoot, and they'll just put in this code, and they'll be good to go. Once you have the players that you want, click start, and until you get anybody in, it's not going to let you click start. But once you have it all done, you're ready to go. So I hope that helped. Just a quick rundown of how to use Kahoot, how to make a Kahoot. If you have any other questions, you can ask me, or I know there are other teachers that use it also. I'm not trying to step on anybody's toes and say that I know everything about it, but it's pretty good. The kids know it pretty well, I think, through other teachers that have used it a lot. So that being said, have a good day, and we will see you later.